goals, or just as visiting. You had talked about some kind of testing that you, and I don't know if that is something you're still looking at doing. Can you
Yeah.
explain to us a little bit more about that?
PSAT?
Yeah.
Actually, the PSAT is a test that students take their beginning of their junior year. It's tied into the SAT, and PSAT just basically means pre-SAT. It's tied into the SAT test that students take for college. And what it does is, beyond give the school a report to show where the kids are across a wide array of curriculum, it helps out to identify kids who have AP potential that might not think they have the potential of going to AP classes. Helps identify them to go in. And then it also, it does other things. It kind of like with identifying the kids where they are in the curriculum, it gives us skill gaps, you know, it helps identify that. It's practice for the SAT, helps them plan for college and careers, and then there's a lot of scholarship opportunities that are tied to it. They go into the National Merit Scholarship. As soon as they take the test, they're entered into the National Merit Scholarship possibilities. And so that's a big thing. And Montana doesn't take a very good advantage of the or the PSATs. There are other states you see multiple kids getting National Merit Scholarship awards, and in Montana we'll get one, maybe two. Just there aren't very many kids taking it. But it's a great way to help identify what's going on with these kids. And it only costs, what was it, $14 a student to take the test. So it would come out to next year, it'd be about $1,022.
How long a test is it? How many questions?
It's a lengthy test. I'm not sure how many questions there are, but it takes them a couple hours to do it. And it covers reading, math, science, and I think it goes into social studies also. And if we did that in the fall for the juniors, I would not do the MAPS test in the fall with them. This would take the place of that, because it's a good high stakes type of test. The kids have some pretty good opportunities writing on it, and it provides good information for us. But it also gives us a nice national comparison too, and that's something that's been going on. And that's a good thing to have for juniors, because we don't see that at all. We get that sophomore year. It's the only time in high school that we get any kind of comparison, and that's generally just to the state. The MAPS test does some national comparison, but the PSAT is a lot broader across the nation than the MAPS testing is. So that's something that I'd really like to look at.
On the PSAT, is that the ones that show their strengths?
No,
Different
that's the
subjects? Which one's that?
ASVAB.
Oh.
The ASVAB does that, and they
Oh.
do that. That's the military aptitude one.
Oh, okay.
Well, I like the fact that, because I don't want to have too much testing,
Right.
but switching it up with the maps, that seems, that makes sense.
Can we get that in place for this fall?
Yeah, we can order it up so it's ready.
And we pitch it to the kids from the standpoint of here's some opportunities for scholarship and da-da-da-da-da that we haven't been utilizing before.
Right. And it's one big test versus 3 days of testing. Because I don't do the science test with the MAPS for the juniors, because it is only test materials up through biology. And so doing it as a junior, he could take it, but there's no comparison to anything. So when you get back the scores, there's just a flat score without any kind of growth chart or anything like that. So it's been kind of pointless to do that, which we found out the first year. But the science, or the math and the reading and language arts is always a good one to have in there. But that would be accomplished also with the PSAT.
Did you,
So what's the goal there? Is it to replace the junior math test with the test?
Well, but I think you're just gonna replace it for the first,
Yeah, just be for the fall,
for the fall, because they give that test every,
2 or 3 times depending on what's going on.
Did you want to save this till the end of the board meeting so you can consider stuff with Tara?
as far as.
I know there's a suggestion here.
I guess
List our goals?
the rest of the goals, I think your point is, would we like to hear from the copier
Yeah,
thing first?
well,
and
it
then-
says, please remember, we already have a list of items we can discuss on the agenda. Perhaps we should save this motion or action until the end of the board meeting. Yeah, so we can get the copier thing done. And out of the way.
That's fine, we can put that on hold and finish it at the end of the meeting. Hopefully it's a little. Okay, so is that okay with you guys? It'll give us a chance to kind of think. All right, then we'll move on to new business.